fact, sometimes he's the one who would call me and tell me, I feel I need to send you money. And I'm like, Dad. You understand? But that doesn't mean that it's like that for everyone. There are people who are educated and the parent will come and tell you, listen, I sold my land to take you to school, to get that job. And for that, you must now get wisdom on how to operate in that circle. Because I can't have a universal wisdom for that. But the basic that I always tell people is, sometimes to stop your father from being on your case, you tell your wife to be giving him money.
That works.
Yeah, sometimes it does work.
Hata kuja aseme sasa umeona unitumie.
No, it means they have to put your wife in a very, you know, especially fathers when they receive from the wife. They'll your wife now, like the daughter-in-law, they'll be like very respectful towards the daughter-in-law. They behave. But if
the other way, hii ni kidogo.
Wewe unanitumia. Yani all these years I raised you, unanitumia 10,000 ama 5. No. I know you earn 100,000. So nikikuitisha 30. You get my point? But if it's your wife sending, she's like, hey, you know, daddy, we could only afford to. So hata nikikutumia hiyo 5,000, daddy,
it has sailed through.
Asante sana. That works. I have seen that work by the way. That's how you deal with some rogue. Not rogue.
Entitled, if I can
yes.
say. But that also...
And by the way, that doesn't negate the fact. Do you know that could be you in future?
Yeah. I was about to just say that.
Yeah, when you think about it, it could be you.
Yes.
You could be the one who is...
dependent on them 24/7.
24/7, yeah. And you're like even entitled.
Yeah.
Wewe tuma pesa, my friend.
Yes.
Nakulaje tu hapa sukuma and you are there. Leo nataka kukula sirloin steak. Yes. Is it sirloin or sirloin steak? Sirloin steak.
Sirloin. Kitu kayo. Me seeing how my father ameishi, it has really challenged me to also work hard. At least nisi depend on my children. Even the good book says we should leave an inheritance for them and their children. So that means we shouldn't really depend on them directly. Yes, we should work sisi pia to live well when we get old.
That's really good.
Yeah,
that's a good value.
Yeah,
I think that's a value that we need to like inculcate in our kids.
Yeah.
And also because, okay, there's also another school of thought where people say you leave them with something to start with, a seed.
Yes. I think that I agree with.
Yeah. So that seed is what will give them an advantage as opposed to how you began.
Yeah.
So there are people who say, like, I know a friend of mine, the father was a good friend of mine. The father, his seed was, he bought every one of his kids a house so that they can start taking care of his grandchildren without having to struggle about where to live. That was his seed. So when he died, he told them, I gave you everything.
Yeah.
So the rest of his money went to charity.
Straight.
Yeah. But he told them, I gave you a house, I took you to school, I connected you with good jobs, so and career and business, so you. But I don't want my grandkids to be living in some dingy neighborhood, so he built for all of them, different parts of the city, a house. And they all live in their own place. Then, so that's a seed. There are others who leave a huge inheritance, where it can take care of themselves and even their children. It's a different model. So it depends on where you're at in society. For many of parents, especially my parents' time, they took you to school.
Yeah, that was their biggest thing.
That was their biggest thing.
Yeah.
And that, of course, gave you an advantage to some opportunities.
True.
But they never really took care of themselves. It's only of late, in the last 20 years, that people have started looking at that retirement as a reality.
Yeah.
where you look at your life and you're like, I don't think I want to live like this in the next 20 or so years. So I need to make some deliberate decisions on how I want to live. Yeah.
This is awesome conversation. I like. Now, there are these children that have been raised by single parents. Sana mom. They are raised by their moms. And I have a case in point. This saddens me. The mother even goes to an extra mile of telling the children their father is dead. And yet we know the father is alive. How can these children first, maybe wakicome of age, be able to now to go around, because they'll come to know their father was alive. And this story you are now calling, am I using the mom? What can we tell the mom who does this to the children? Ama, maybe hata saa zingine the fathers can say, your mom will die. Wewe, ni mimi na wewe tu. Hatuna watu wengine. From our discussion, I already know this. Mama is from a dysfunctional kind of place. But sasa, how do you... I hope they can listen and be able to change while it's still early. Maybe they can listen to you and speak to them maybe. Wabadilishe that if they can, and what they're doing affects the children.
Okay. Wow. Most of the times, mothers who raise children, but they really loud them the way they are able to do it, because not all of them come out or wake up and decide to raise children alone. Though I know a couple who just decided to raise children alone. They will look for sperm donors.
And they go even.
Yeah, and they just go that way. But quite a number don't decide to raise children alone. They find themselves in unfortunate circumstances, for example, of abuse, for example, of neglect, for example, of just men behaving badly. They find themselves in the place where they have to raise their children alone. Some of these factors really affect the way they parent. For example, if the father was probably abusive, they are the ones who are prone to even tell the children, your father is not alive. Or if your father is toxic, they are protecting you from themselves. For them, that is their immediate need, and they feel they are doing it to the best interest of their children. Now the thing is, that's not how life works sometimes. Sometimes that cannot be the best way to relate with the children. I'm a firm believer that children need to learn how to relate with their parents based on the way their parent is. Let the children discover how their parent is
for themselves.
Both father and mother. But if you find yourself in that situation as a child, or let me start as a lady, because ladies are the ones who constitute most single parent families. And I know Kenya is the leading country with single parent families in East and Central Africa. It's very common. Now, there's always a danger that your children will grow up with a dysfunction. That is something that you need. It's not a matter of if.
They will.
They will grow up with a dysfunction, because the way families structures are structured, you need both a father and a mother, because the two roles I explained that they normally play. But now, without a father and without his input in the life of a child, one of the first things you need to do is to find a father figure who can connect with your children. It is for their own good. It may not be 100%, but even that 40% is okay. Let me give a case in point. A study was done in Australia in a street in Brisbane. One street had 3 fathers, 27 homes. All the fathers were drunks, but they were there.
They were present.
The next street had 18 families, no fathers. Now, when the study was conducted, it was realized that the dropout rate in the family in the street with fathers was up to 73% less.
Less.
Yes, than the families on the other street, the school dropout rate, than the families on the next street, which had no fathers. There, it was at an all-time high of almost 65%.
This other side with the drunkard fathers.
Yes, the dropout rate was
Less.
The one with no fathers, the dropout rate was high. Second, in this first street, the rate of drug abuse was fairly low. And by fairly, it was like only up to 22% of the children abused drugs. And in the next street, it was very high, up to 70%. Now, when they looked at those families or the history of those two streets over a period of 20 years, almost half the kids in the other street with no fathers had spent some time in jail. And in this other one, out of the 27 homes, only 2 homes had people who had spent their time in jails. That is the importance of the presence of a father in the life of a child. So when you remove that from kids, you expose them to something that may bring dysfunctions to them in future. So as much as possible, even if you're a mother, if the father is not able to be there, especially because of safety, toxic reasons, find a way in which you can help these children develop a relationship with their father. If it's not possible, a father figure. But if there are cases of abuse, toxic behavior, reckless behavior, then I don't think you can expose kids to that kind of environment.
By you saying this, I just see, can I call it the weight of a man and of a father in the society, in a family, that without us, things go wrong.
Yes, without fathers.
So we need to be.
Yes, without fathers, things go wrong. If you want to break down a society, kill the men.
Question.
If you want to break down a society, deceive the women. Make sure they are deceived. Totally.
So it only means that it's easy to deceive women than men.
Men are not easily deceived. You see, when Adam ate the fruit, he was not deceived. He heard from God. He decided. He had an option of saying no. But what did he do? He ate. Eve was deceived. Adam was not deceived. That's why for ladies, they're affected more by relationships than men. But though nowadays we have very many toxic relationships, especially for men, like some of the boys' clubs, they have very toxic behaviors. And they take men on a tangent that they would not rather go because of that hard mentality or mob mentality that really affects them. So when you look at men who lack that particular aspect, there are gaps that you will see. So I think as a generation, we need to extol that. Fathers, their presence, and also mothers, their presence, because both of them play a very important role in the human makeup.
Wow.
And for morally upright and confident young people and children, Wow.
Fathers, you hear? We need to be present.
Yeah.
Try and cultivate this in your mind. Learn, seek knowledge. so that you can be able to be great fathers, because you see everything relies on us as men, us as fathers to be. You can learn saizi ndio ukiingia pale you are well able to do all this, lakini wanaume sana sana Mr. Drake, we don't seek knowledge pertaining family ama well-being. Most of us tunatafuta tu pesa. Tukiambiwa mahali kuna deal, hapo tumeka all our focus. But when it comes to this family thing, learning something about how to be a good husband, because you have to be a good husband for you to be a good father to these children.
Yeah.
We don't seek information. Yes, tunaweza sema women have been empowered sana, but does it mean hakuna any information about any trainings about men that we can also go listen to? Sisi tuko laid back. Haitaweza.
Yeah, haitaweza because
Haitaweza.
ukiangalia like society, the kind of society we live in, unless we uko deliberate. Let me tell you something. Like nilisema before tukianza, being deliberate is not natural for us. It's a learned behavior. So when you understand that, it means you don't know what it is to be a man. So jijue.
Yeah.
After you know what it means to be a man, understand the process that is required to make this man. Then after you understand the process, get the knowledge that you need and apply it. Not just getting, but get and apply. That also needs a deliberate effort.
Totally.
So when you look at one of the reasons why you're asking that question is because there are values that men need to have.
Yeah.
Do you remember, were you a scout?
Yes, I did.
Was there a code?
Yes,
What was the code for scouts?
Can I remember the exact
I
words
remember guys used to, I was not a scout. I think I was one of the few guys my age was not a scout.
Maybe attend.
Kulikuwa na kitu ka loyalty pledge.
Yes, I pledge my loyalty to
The president of the nation of Kenya,
Yes,
blah, blah,
yes.
blah. So that pledge was like a code. Many men don't even have such a thing. Now, for you to succeed as a man, there are things that you must put as this is my standard on how I need to behave in a particular thing. Number one, every man needs to be a seeker of knowledge. Knowledge about masculinity, yourself, knowledge about family, knowledge about life, knowledge about how do you teach what you don't know?
You can't.
Because men are teachers
Yeah.
and mentors. So you must teach about what you know. That's number one. Number two, men must be brave. Brave enough to, number one, protect their children, protect their wives, and protect the values that the family has. Men must be brave. Three, men must have integrity. Integrity in all their relationships. Financial integrity, moral integrity, social integrity. Why is integrity important? Because we live in a society of very many duplicitous people. So because of that duplicitous nature of men nowadays, integrity is a very rare virtue. And every man must have integrity. Another thing is men who stand with each other by being loyal. Loyalty is very important for men because if you're not loyal to your wife, you're not loyal to God, you're not loyal to your family and your friends, what kind of a man are you? You'll never have relationships. Because without those relationships, your making as a man is going to be very difficult. Then, lastly, every man must serve his community. You must have a place of service, be it in church, in the community. And those are the values that you want to cascade to your children that in this family, we normally serve in this church, we normally serve this charity. Whatever it is that we do, it must be community-based. Because I'm a firm believer that it's very easy to be successful. Because nowadays we equate success to money.
Only.
But if you're legacy-minded, if you think long-term about leaving a worthwhile legacy, you will realize that legacy is not about success. Legacy is about the impact that you had in people's lives. And that impact must be significant. So significance is the end goal of the life of a man. You don't want to die as a footnote in history. You want to die as a man who impacted people and made a difference in their lives. For some of them, the impact could be the kind of photos you took. For some of them could be the impact the joy you brought people. Like, for example, playing football, Messi. You see the joy people have when they see him play and watch him. That could be impact. And it's something that cannot be quantified by money. For some people, it will be the impact or the fervency in which they preached the gospel. For some, it will be a politician, what they did to the lives of people. That is impact. But impact is different for everyone. So once you can be able to transcend that, then the life of significance as a man can be explained.
This is for me. You thought we were doing this for you outside there? No, this is for me. I'm here to learn. This is for me. Wow. I think we even just finished it very well. That's, to me, that is an advice on what to do as a man, as a father. Tayari ushanipatia yote tu. Nikae chini niende ni andike. Kwanza you seek of knowledge now that we have to train our children, to teach them. That's a challenge.
Yeah, it is a challenge. Especially like, our parents never believed in reading about parenting. They thought parenting was automatic. It just came with the territory, it came with the terrain. But we live in an age where information is very important. It's key. So as parents, we need to seek knowledge as parents, deliberately.
Totally.
Read, attend mentorship classes.
Training.
You can even attend parenting classes. I have attended a parenting class. And
I need to.
As part of when I attended the parenting class, I became very intentional in the way and deliberate in the way I parent. And because I wanted to see certain values in my children, that I know I have a few years with them, that they should be so profound that when they leave, they will have my fingerprint. That these were his kids and these are the values he imparted in them. Because values are imparted. They are not spoken. They are imparted. And when they are imparted, they never leave the child. That's why the Bible says, train up a child in the way that they should go. So the test of the training is when they go. Will they exemplify the same values? Or will they lose it and have to be retrained in order to get the same values? There are children growing up in our society that never grew up with any form of value in their lives. Like nothing, zero. It's like, what values did you get from your parent? Have you ever heard of that conversation? I had it being said the other day. That part of the reasons why boys are struggling is because a study was done of 20 boys and 16 didn't know what their father did for a living. Yes. So you ask them, what does your father do? He makes money. Okay. What do you mean make money? He goes and he comes back with a lot of money in his pocket. Now, believe it or not, that's the kind of society we live in. So, when you tell this guy that you actually need to work to eat, they are thinking. But dad goes, sits in the car the whole day in a parking and he makes money.
What do you mean by working?
So what do you mean by working? Like me, I go and start digging trenches and they don't get it. And we think we are showing them that life is easy. But sometimes, that's why I said, with boys walk shoulder to shoulder, with girls sit them face to face, talk to them. And remember that even as you're walking towards this journey, God is always there to help you. And there are very many people out there who are doing a fabulous job at being fathers, being good mothers, basically doing their full 100 to become the best parents ever.
Yeah.
And kudos to them. But to those who are really struggling, there's help out there. There's so many programs in churches, in social clubs that help people to be able to parent. You can also go through YouTube, Facebook. You will always get some parenting groups where you can be able to get tips on how to raise children in a modern manner, but not really modern manner, but in a good manner that will be able to bring up morally upright members of society.
Modern parenting.
Yes.
You said modern, nikakumbuka there's modern parenting. I think ile ulikuwa unasema about gentle parenting. Inaweza hapo kwa modern.
Hapo kwa modern is ile the kababa generation. Hiyo
sitting na corner.
Sitting na corner and think. My son enjoys that
so much.
Yeah.
Think about nini haswa.
Think about what? Ati sit in a corner and think, then you give them a phone.
Wanna think nini sasa.
Let me tell you something. In one of the programs that we do, and this thing will shock you. Number 2 will shock you. In this thing that we normally run a mentorship program for men. And as part of the course, we normally tell the men, we go for camp. Now, when we go for camp, you're going to be out of phone for 36 hours. I'll take your phone, turn it off, and I'll give it back to you after 36 hours.
What wanaweza?
Do you know there are people who don't know how to turn off their phone?
The phone has never been
off, ever. Now, phones are good as a communication tool, but they've made very many men slaves. They don't even know how to have a conversation
with the other man.
Yeah. So if you want men to have a conversation, take the gadgets. Keep them.
Itaishia kwa ball.
No, they will have candid discussion.
They will.
But 2, you teach them how to have self-reflection. You will never scale some heights if you don't have alone time. Where you just sit alone and think.
You will get alone time ukiwa na familia na watoto.
No, you can't get alone time with your family. There are times as a man where you need to go up the mountain alone like Moses. And you commune with God. When you come down, there will be a glory that will be seen. That's part of the journey of a man. Men go up mountains. You cannot be satisfied being in the valley all the time. That's one of the reasons why we really, really love that aspect of men and that alone time. But believe it or not, when we pick phones from these men, it's usually a struggle. It's like taking candy from a child.
Oh.
They give you the phone kicking and screaming. Like, how can you do this to me?
Serious.
Do you know how important I am? They will give you all sorts of stories.
Cool. That's my business.
That is my business. But we always tell them beforehand, we will take your phones.
And they know.
And they know, but they still fight about it. But every time, by the time we give them back the phones after 36 hours, do you know what they always tell us? This was the best 36 hours of my life. I don't even want to turn it off. I'll turn it on tomorrow.
Hey, Mr. Drake, I want to have that. I want to do that.
So guys are like, it is possible. Ukaibila simu. They're like, yeah, it is very possible.
You want the reflections and what?
Yeah. So tuna encourage watu, you can actually leave your phone behind and just live a normal life. It's the same thing to kids. That thing of telling kids to sit in a corner and think, you're not really helping them. Kids are incapable of self-correcting. That's why they have you as a parent. You know, as a parent, I don't think you're called to be friends with your kids. You're called to parent them. You become friends with them as you teach them the journey towards relationships. How do you become friends with a 2-year-old who doesn't even get the values or attributes of friendship? Like fairness. How can your 2-year-old be fair with you? When they want to wake you up at 3 a.m., is that fair?
No.
Yeah. So why do you want them to be your friend at that age? But as they grow older, you start developing a relationship with them that you become friends.
Fair, friendly.
But a 2-year-old, this is my best friend. No, you're the parent. Stick to parenting. And parenting is good.
It's fulfilling.
Yes.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, it is a challenge. Parenting in this century is not easy. With all the social media and everything.
But then how do you handle your social media with kids?
With my kids.
We
have social media. Okay, my kids are not on social media.
All of them.
All of
but
them.
They can peruse and see.
Yeah, they have gadgets, but we don't do gadgets in school days. My kids don't have screen time during the week. They read books.
Oh.
Yeah. So they only have screen time over the weekends and only for like 3-4 hours.
And they know that.
And they know that and they're used to it and it's okay. I realized during COVID that my kids had started becoming so dependent on gadgets that they started being irritable and cranky. And they started having antisocial behavior because they would spend up to 14 hours on gadgets. If it's not TV, it's a tablet. If it's not a tablet, it's a phone. Playing games, all sorts of games. And I realized, if I don't change this, it's going to affect their mental health. So during that time, I turned off the TV and I told them, listen, you guys are going to be playing soccer. You're going to be riding bikes.
Yeah.
You're going to be spending time with real human beings. So when I did that, okay, of course, they thought I was crazy, but I followed through. So when they went back to school, I remember I was telling them, there'll be no TV during the week. In my house, you don't watch TV during the week. So
even you?
Yeah, even me. So it's okay. It's all good.
Oh,
so I had to show them that it is possible. Yeah. Or if I watch TV, I'm always watching constructive things like documentaries, that sort of thing. Those are some of the favorite things I like to watch. So they are used to that. But believe you me, it is not easy for people to do that to their kids. So what it has done, they have improved in their studies and even in how they relate to people and they relate with each other. That's why it begins at home.
Yeah.
Then later in life, it will cascade into other things. When they move to their own places, they can watch TV as much as they want.
As long as these values have been imprinted in them.
Inculcated in them. So they will have that moral boundaries. They know how to set for themselves boundaries when it comes to various aspects of their lives, like TV, like video games, and because those are the realities that we have.
Yeah.
They're not on social media, so they don't have social media handles and everything. And also, we curate what they do on social media. You can't just go to any channel, and we tell them why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that really, really helps, especially when growing up in this century. And we also tell them, because sometimes they are sent homework on phones
gadgets.
and tablets and gadgets. So when they are sent homework, they have the discipline of just sticking to the homework, and when they're done, they just take back the gadget.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Do you apologize to them?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
When
if you don't teach them to apologize, they will never learn to apologize the same. Yeah. Because it's not all the time that you are
You're
right.
right.
Yeah. Like, for example, if I step on your foot, I have to say sorry. I tell them, excuse me. I tell them, thank you. I think I teach them how to knock doors. You just don't
Bulging.
bump into a room and just you're barging in and you're like, I'm here. No. You have to teach them. Why? Because you want to raise decent human beings.
Yeah.
And I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
There's still some aspects I'm trying to control, like the propensity to want everything exactly the way I want. Or sometimes I can be a neat freak, especially in the house. Like, I want things in a particular way. And they are not like that. You know, they are kids.
Yeah, they'll do.
So sometimes they'll bring their friends over.
Yeah.
Many times I come to my house and I find 20 boys. And they're like, I came home to rest. And there are 20
boys.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, how do I handle this? So now that's where you need to. I am also in the process of learning. Yeah.
Never stops.
Yeah, it never stops.
Never stops.
Yeah.
Kama ni kusoma nimesoma. Hope you've also learned. Yeah, I wanna do some of the trainings that you're doing. I'll plan myself at least near 10. Actually, I wanna do that. I think on your me moments, your alone moments, just being away from every other thing and me na Mungu and thinking through.
Yeah.
I think that can be a great
that's really good
service to me. I think so.
Yeah.
Wow. This is amazing. Mi naona Drake utakuwa unakuja tu kila time. Tuna download kidogo.
Nitakuwa na kama.
Pole pole. Kidogo kidogo.
Kuna kikombe ya kahawa.
Kidogo kidogo tukisonga.
Yes.
Maybe if there's anything else you can add to this conversation.
I think just to wind up, I can say fatherhood is intentional. It may begin naturally, but at the end of it, you have to be intentional about it. And it's something that as every boy must aspire to. Every boy has the ability to become a good father because it was made in us. Every boy has the ability to be a good leader, to be a protector, to be a provider, to be a king over his domain. Every boy has that ability. The only thing is they need to understand that it's a requirement of being a man. Number 2, they need to learn that process. And number 3, they need to get the knowledge that is required to become and apply it. When they do all those 3 things that I've mentioned, fatherhood and parenting becomes a breeze. I don't have it all. I'm also in the journey. But through the journey, I've learned a few things that really help in this journey of parenting and fatherhood. And I thank God for that. But if you want to learn, there are always places you can learn. You can contact me. I think my socials will be put somewhere there.
Yes.
I can help you walk this journey of parenting, of fatherhood, of masculinity, of football, of
biking.
Ugalism. Okay, biking. Yeah, and it shall be fun. Asante.
Wow. Whoa. This has just been so amazing. Man, let's acknowledge there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
Somebody else has gone through whatever you want to go through, or whatever you are going through. So instead of you doing it, navigating through it alone, you can get some assistance. No one does this alone. We are all trained. We are all taught. Follow such content for you to learn about how to be a man, positive masculinity, as we've been taught by Mr. Drake, and we will navigate it. It will be good. Remember, the weight is all on us as men, but this weight shouldn't drown you, if I can use that word. just a responsibility in our mind to remember that the society depends on us as men, us as fathers of these families, these children. If you drop the ball, you are done.
Yeah, you're done.
We are done. Let's stop blaming ourselves. Let's stop blaming others. We can seek knowledge and do this right. Thank you so much. Until next time, keep it here. Father Studies. Experience comfort and modern living in a stylish 2-bedroom Airbnb at Mevida Homes Garden City. Perfectly located, this serene space offers easy access to shopping, dining, and entertainment while providing all the amenities you need for your relaxing stay. Enjoy the convenience of a fully equipped kitchen, spacious living areas, and a peaceful environment in the heart of the city. Ideal for families, business travelers, and anyone seeking a comfortable getaway. Husbands, you can get away with your wife at this place. It is awesome, it's amazing, it is stylish and comfortable. Men, nimewapatia plug. Mwende mseme picha za wanga amewatuma. Au sio?